own thoughts about it. But, be down, sometimes it's kind of nice to hear from others.
Sometimes. I mean, Twitter, these community tweets, we've gotten a lot of good ones, so it's usually a fun time. And here we go. We're going to start it off with our guy, Perry from Cincinnati Fear. And I mean, I like the little pixelated because I saw this tweet. I know what he said. That was a rough loss they had.
I know you have the button to also mimic that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Majority of teams are going to be sent to the lower bracket.
Yo, that UG Perry matchup is going to be such a banger, though.
Oh,
that's all I'm saying.
Ooh, you're actually right.
And honestly, the fact, too, like, yeah, an 0-2 to Cloud9, like, all right. I mean, it is Cloud9,
Yeah, I mean, Cloud9, the best, at this point, favorites to win the tournament with how well they've been playing throughout the whole bracket. So it isn't a surprise, the result that we saw, and Fear showed some good things in game 2. So I imagine that series, which I believe is tomorrow, will be a banger.
It will be. Moving on into our next tweet, though. This one from Prismal feels pretty awful to end our split here. I'm thankful to teammates or coaches putting their best effort every day. I will say the juxtaposition of the tweet in comparison to the image is kind of...
Yeah, right?
True.
He's looking fresh.
I got to give some shout outs to Pwismal, though. I think Golden Guardians as a whole, they definitely didn't have the end of the split that they would have wanted to have. But Prismal has still been growing so well into his role. It's been really good to see.
Yes, and honestly, like it was a good run from Golden Guardians altogether. They have a lot to be happy about, and it's how it goes when we get this late into the tournament. They're going to have to refocus for summertime.
That's all you can do at that point, right? So excited to see Prismal later on. For our next tweet, let's see what we got ahead of us here from Moose Hater. Oh, we got all the tweets from all of our eliminated teams.
Hey, you know what? Community tweets are sad right now.
Yeah, I like.
You have to
seeing
bid
the
them adieu.
That's true.
I mean, it is what it is. We get the little wholesome note at the end, like amazing time growing my audience display, growing as a person.
He's literally world renowned now.
I know that he's talking about an
crazy.
LCS, LEC, Mr. Worldwide Moose Hater over here.
Yeah, the Garen World Tour really came through this split because of him. So I mean, there's a lot to take away from that too. And I mean, wildcard, they still avoid relegation, so there's still a lot for them to be happy about as well.
Yeah, they'll be excited to see the run back when we head into our summer split. For our next tweet, a little drum roll here. Third upset of the tourney so far. 3 more incoming soon.
Let's go.
Tweets with threatening auras.
The water jug carry as well at the same time.
Good.
Just subtle flex.
Yeah, I really like this too because we were hitting on it yesterday that Team Liquid, when we were at top 8 yesterday, were the only teams that weren't seeded top 8 to make it this far, and they've just been upsetting nonstop.
So it is crazy to think of the fact that it is upsetting, the fact that they were just so low in the seeding anyways, that every match that they have ahead of them is an upset. So that's really fun. I'm excited to see how they're going to fare going on forward as we move on forward into our second last tweet here. Hoon remains the GOAT. What can I say?
Let's go.
It's Hoonin' time, baby.
My fellow LTL co-stream brother.
Yeah.
Love it. Hoon is always the GOAT, though.
Hoon has actually been like crazy this split and has really leveled up towards the end. And yeah, I really noticed that I Will Dominate has become Hoon's like #1 fan these last couple of weeks.
Pretty sure it started as a meme, but now he loves him. So
it was definitely a meme at the start.
Same with the Hoonin' time thing. It started off as a meme, and then it was like,
and now it's the real deal.
It's the reality. We spoke it into existence. Our last final community tweet that we have before we get started with our today's show is actually from the GOAT himself.
Let's go. Tuesday. I mean, that series was crazy. Hoon actually, I don't even know what to say. He went sicko mode both games. So they well fought. Well-deserved tweet. Good for you, Hoon.
The Rumble and Kennen, respectively, both just insane back-to-back. So, huge stuff.
Champ is really good, guys. I swear.
I mean, we got to end off our community tweets with some highlights, but of course we did see at the beginning a farewell from a couple of the teams that got knocked out. As of course, going on in playoffs, we did say goodbye to 2 more teams yesterday.
Sad.
Wild card, one of our last 2 remaining provisional teams. We say goodbye to them, as well as Golden Guardians.
All right, and that just reflects in some of the tweets that we saw from Moose Hater, from Prismal. Again, 2 teams who really kind of beat expectations. Wildcard being that team that, as a provisional team, we didn't expect them to make it even this far in the tournament, even though they hoped to get further themselves. And Golden Guardians, we didn't give them a lot of love until the last couple of weeks, where we realized like this team was the real deal. But unfortunately, at this stage of the tournament, even our better teams are facing these challenges.
Yeah, I think there was a lot to learn from the split for both these 2 organizations, and I think especially knowing that they will be back in summer, a lot to look forward to as well.
Well, something that we always look forward to here in NACL is that very coveted Most Valuable Prospect Award. So that goes off of regular split season play, but of course we've been dropping teasers and discussion throughout our time in playoffs. A little hints, a little teaser, yeah, to kind of get people ready. Exactly. Of course, though, there is specific criteria for this. A couple of people that we would like to honorably mention, even if they could not win the award themselves. Check this out.
Well, it's that time of year again where we start looking at the most valuable prospect list for Spring Split. But before we get into the top 5, we wanted to acknowledge some players that were in the conversation for the award, but are not eligible either because they've already promoted to LCS this split, or because they played in a major region in their last split. But they still played fantastic, so we wanted to shout them out. Let's take a look.
Tomo has shown twice now, when the chips are down, he can step up to the LCS level. First in summer 2021 for FlyQuest, and now for Dignitas this spring. He has shown that he can dominate the competition in Challengers just as well as he can hang with the LCS ADCs. With Diamond, the support he has played with for almost 3 years by his side in lane, he was a nuisance, which meant by the time team fights rolled around, he wasn't just a part of the problem, he was the entire problem. He may have subbed in for the last place LCS team, but we're proud of the performances he has shown in LCS and Challengers.
Bolulu, the Turkish terror, took a pay cut to join the LCS Challengers League and rapidly became one of the most exciting additions to the league in 2023. Bolulu demonstrates mastery over some of the most difficult tasks in the game, switching targets and holding abilities for their maximum effectiveness. In addition, his Zoe is not only the best in the league, but easily among the best in the world. Now that he's playing in LCS, his constant efforts to turn around lost games and impeccable awareness of what is happening in teamfights will continue to elevate any team he joins.
Eminus was the clear standout mid laner from the split. From his incredible stats, his dominant laning, and his ability to force his opponents to make mistakes, it is no surprise that Cloud9 decided to promote him to the LCS, and it's honestly no surprise that he is finding so much success there. It's very rare that we have a player so far above the others in a developmental league, but Eminus is just at that level.
If this was a traditional Most Valuable Player award, Unforgiven would be a shoo-in to take the victory. He has been so ridiculous this split that we feel like we can't even vote for him for the Most Valuable Prospect award given what he has achieved in the past. The biggest compliment that we can give Unforgiven is that the first team LEC All-Pro from last year, it feels like his form hasn't dipped at all here in the Challengers League. Unforgiven has given us ridiculous moments, ridiculous highlight clips, and has been so damn consistent in his play. We just feel like he is already a proven talent, and he has proved that. Given his pedigree, it is expected of him to be the best player in the league, and guess what? Unforgiven has hit that mantle every time he has stepped on the Rift. That is the biggest compliment that we can give to Unforgiven this split. His play has been fantastic. We're excited to see more of him moving forward.
It wouldn't have felt right to finish out the split without at least acknowledging Bolulu, Eminus, Unforgiven, and Tomo for all the incredible plays that they had throughout the split. But now we're excited to get into our top 5 most valuable prospect award that we will be unveiling throughout the coming weeks. So make sure that you're following twitch.tv/Challengers League and twitch.tv/PathTheLCS so you don't miss out on any of it. I'll see you there.
A lot of really good people on that list, but you know, it is what it is, you know?
I love to see, obviously, some of the great talent that we have. And, yeah, it's just interesting the stipulations we have to put in some of these situations because there are just some really interesting stories and journeys in our league as well.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it, especially given the fact that, I mean, some of the people we mentioned were people in the conversation, but then they got the big promo, which, I mean, that's what NACL is all about.
That's what we're here for.
Exactly.
The promo, MVP award, you know, there's kind of one that might be a little bit more valuable, but a lot of great talent still in the discussion for MVP, and upcoming is one of them.
Number 5 for most valuable prospect in spring 2023 is Yukino. Yukino brings all of the intangibles.
Because again, Unforgiven, big target. And oh, wait a minute.
Yukino trying to get a lot of attention, and he's doing such a great job. Yukino, you think you pick him out, but the 16-year-old.
You hear him lauded by everyone around him for being a positive light.
They're going to knock him up with a flag and drag. Cataclysm.
Oh, the bear.
And the bear burns them all down, baby. Doxa doesn't have flash, so he can't work his way out. There's another flag and drag from Yukino.
He learns, he adapts. He also has that competitive drive needed to be successful. It's not just the intangibles though. He brings a 70% KP to the table. He facilitates his team on the likes of the Sejuanis, the Wukongs, the Vais. He makes everyone around him look better, and doing so makes him look better. That is why Yukino is one of our MVP frontrunners.
One of the front runners and someone that we're going to be able to see going on today, of course, still in our competition, still trying to fight his way through this lower bracket, and things are really heating up. We're down to our final 6 teams moving on forward in the playoffs. We still have our one provisional team still in contention, though tough matchups ahead for everyone involved.
We're at that point in the bracket where there's just only bangers left, and I believe we said it yesterday, Sierra, that of course we've had several bangers since the bracket started, but now look at what's left. We got 100 TLC today, Fear, FlyQuest, Challengers, C9 Dig, the 1 and 2 seed fighting it out in winners finals. Like, if you're not watching Challengers League these next couple of days, what are you doing?
Yeah, we have some absolute banger best of 5s, especially with the history between the best of 5 that we have today, 100C and TLC, but then Fear still kicking here, trying to make that push to the furthest that we would see from a provisional team here in NACL so far. And then FlyQuest as well, just trying to make that late game resurgence, late season resurgence. But of course, our 1 and 2 are right in the right spot.
Yeah, it's funny how that works out, right? It's almost like they were number 1 and 2 seed going into this for a reason. And I really do just want to give massive shout outs once again to Fear, considering the conversation at the beginning of the split we had was, can the provisional teams step up? And Fear definitely is. So love to see that going forward. But that's for tomorrow. Today's match that we have to highlight is a banger in its own right. Team Liquid going up against 100 Thieves Challengers. And this matchup, this is also just a final caliber one. If you swapped and put these two in the winners bracket, I mean, I wouldn't really be surprised. They definitely have a lot of highlights about them.
If we look at the history, it wouldn't be. Yeah, I was gonna say, if we look at the history, I mean, that's just kind of the case here, where these two teams, like these orgs as a whole, have been so good at development here in North America. You see how they've made it across the tier 2 scene these last couple of years. These two teams met in summer 21 PG finals, 22's PG spring, and you can see how they have the alternate winners. They also both made top 4 in 22 summer, just last split, where Team Liquid, of course, got the back-to-back and are looking for the three-peat this split. These two teams, they know how to build teams.
We got the best of 25. Let's go. It's gonna be great. There was like a it's obviously a lot of history between these two teams, but specifically it is about the way they've grown their talent, right? They are consistently top names in the environment because they know how to develop talent. They know how to push it to the next level, and they know how to give it structure to grow. And I think that's so important in a developmental league.
Yeah, and one remaining member from, those face-offs we got to see going over to the roster is going to be Bradley. The rest of the team is newer. They're part of the history and the fact that they're involved with the org with the history, but only Bradley with the pressure on his shoulders here moving on forward.
Yeah, he's trying to go with 3 chains here, as you said already, but specifically it's this the lower bracket run that's going to be hard for them to do, but very possible, right? We've seen Bradley maybe take a little bit of a backseat recently because Mir, APA stepping up to the plate, but it is going to be a holistic experience for them if they want to come out successfully, and I think that's what we've struggled to see a little bit throughout a lot of the season, and we've started to see that growth in these playoffs, the late game season push here, Beatdown.
Absolutely. Team Liquid Challengers have turned turned things up from what we saw from them in those first couple of weeks. I mean, we have APA, that rookie we were super excited about finally getting his shot at the level. Arrow and Kim Down, another new one in Kim Down specifically, also really turning up towards the end and deserve that special shout out. And Mir, another MVP potential prospect that we were talking about here, that we've been kind of talking about these last couple of weeks, has just been an incredible player from start to finish. This roster, even though the pieces look very good, we didn't expect that success from Team Liquid challengers that we've seen in the years in the first split back, but here they are in the top 6.
I feel like it was definitely a road to get to this point, though, because there's definitely, I feel like, in those conversations of like, we expect a lot from Team Liquid, but okay, are they really stepping up to those expectations? But I'm excited to see them now as we check out these clips going forward in our lower bracket, because this is a team that, I mean, they have the confidence too that they can be pushing on forward and taking down the whole thing.
Yeah, the thing that really stands out to me too, in this last series in particular, because this was yesterday between Team Liquid Challengers and Golden Guardians Challengers, this team, I mean, we know the entire split, they've been really focused on the early game, and that's really paid off in this playoff brackets run they've got going for them. I mean, they played the early game really well. In game 1, they had play after play after play, as we're seeing on our screen, to really just run over Golden Guardians. And in that second game in the series, they actually lost out in the early game, but they managed to turn things around. The amount of confidence that this team has shown and the amount of growth that we've seen from them over these 9 weeks has been incredible.
Yeah, and especially in this last series, you really saw it come to a head in actuality. But that is the thing, is this is a grueling trek for TLC. This is going to be a lot of effort that they need to put in to close out. And if not, this is an elimination day. This is our first best of 5s, and that changes a lot of the strategy, the prep that you have to bring to the table. And I'm hoping that they were able to pull a little bit from that Golden Guardians series into this series itself against 100 Thieves.
Well, even after the victory yesterday, I did get to sit down and talk with Mir a little bit, and he has his own thoughts on how maybe this matchup should be approached and who they have to be watching out for.
Thieves are basically just bot-lane carry matchup. If they doesn't get the lead from bot-lane, they seems like they consistently losing. But at the same time, they have like Unforgiven, which was LCS best side carry of the last year. So I think if we shut him down, we can easily win.
Shut Unforgiven down, then win for Team Liquid. How are we feeling about that?
Looking pretty good if that's the game plan. If they can execute it, though, is the biggest conversation.
Exactly. I mean, Mir is a player we know does so much work to help Arrow and Kim Down in the bottom lane in the early game. Interesting pathing, all these different routes to help them out. So you got to imagine that's going to be doubly so today.
Even just looking all around, though, at their roster, there's, even if Mir is worried about Unforgiven and saying Unforgiven is the piece that needs to be shut down, I feel like there's a lot of strength from this roster. Of course, we did get to see that top lane swap with Darshan coming in to cover in the playoffs here, but still the rest of the team, I mean, Yukino is definitely, I mean, we saw it in the MVP discussion video, someone we've talked about very highly.
Yeah, I think Yukino deserves a lot of praise. Obviously, a lot of the out-of-game effort from him, as well as the in-game effort. And I was talking with Pretty beforehand for their last series, actually, against Insanity, and he talked a little bit about this changeup and how it has affected the roster, right? It hasn't been an easy trek, especially when you're coming into playoffs, and this is the moment that you're supposed to try and pull everything together. Honestly, I was impressed by 100 Thieves during the regular season. Even though they had a lot of newer pieces, we saw their growth throughout the regular season. It was really nice to see, but then this changeup really kind of affected things, but they feel like it's okay because Darshan brings a little bit of a different attitude to the table.
The thing for me too with Darshan is that he's had some really good moments as well for someone who is returning to play after more than a year off. I believe the last time we saw him actually was 2021 when he played for nope, I'm thinking of last.
Yeah, we saw him last year for.
We saw him last year. I'm thinking of Yusui, my mistake. But we actually got to talk to him before an interview where he mentioned how things are up and down from him when it comes to scrimming, getting used to that team environment, and we're hoping as time goes on, he keeps the consistency up because he's had some really high highs, and when you pair that with the rest of this team, I mean, especially Yukino, who deserves a lot of that praise, being now the youngest player we have in the league because Sniper had to take a break. And he's shown us so much growth at how he's able to play this game.
And we saw, even though Dignitas definitely had a lot of strength in their series, 100 Thieves had these little moments where they were all inning. Pretty had some very crazy engages with his Syndra, and I think if you can see more of these comps pulled together with a little bit more stability in the early game, not giving over early kills like they did against Dignitas, that's where you see the stability come through for 100 Thieves.
I think it says a lot about a team too that they could be having a roster change so late into things and still be able to be doing really well. I mean, yes, this is lower bracket, this is elimination on the line, but this is still top 6 going forward, and it takes time to be building up synergy. It takes time to be readjusting the game plan. So honestly, huge kudos to the squad for that.
And one thing I will say too, that is a really good point, Lennon, and I think that's something to highlight too, how they need to be able to kind of slow down that early game, give Unforgiven that time to get ahead in the game so that he can actually have those incredible pop-off performances that we've seen. And it's tough because they're playing against Team Liquid Challengers, who we were already talking about, early game focused team. It was what they did yesterday, this past weekend against all of their opponents, where Mir really breaks down the early game and he really shows why he is the best jungler we have in this league. And it is tough, even though Yukino is someone we have as that MVP prospect, he's got a tough matchup ahead of him, and someone like Mir, especially because this hasn't been Mir's meta. We're used to seeing him on the more mechanically intensive champions, but it just hasn't slowed him down at all.
And I do believe Viego is still disabled, so obviously one of the top champions for Mir gone. But it is crucial to look at how integral these guys are to the teams, right? Like, it is about early game pathing. It's about finding resources. If they can find advantages for themselves on Wukong, trying to get a little bit of engage going for themselves, get a little bit of that bruiser style going, it works really well. But it works best when they are facilitating and they are able to command the team around these objectives. And that's where I'm looking at a lot today.
And it really shows too, if you look at the stats, the goal difference of 10, I mean, just barely ahead for Mir and actually behind for Yukino. It just shows, combined with having being in that top 5 in first blood percentage, that how much they work to influence their laners, how effective they are at having impact in those early minutes of the game. So these are two players to be watching in this series because of how important it is for TLC to keep the pace up and for 100 Thieves Challengers to, keep things nice and slow.
Reminder for viewers too, both of these players are in talks about our most valuable prospect.
Right.
So like,
what a matchup.
We have been eyeing them up. We know what they're capable of. We know what they're able to be bringing to the team. So that is especially exciting heading into that. But touching back in on the history of the teams, I mean, we saw in the history in the past, of course, every team got to play against each other in the regular season. And last time these two faced off, sure, Tenacity was filling in for Sniper at that moment, but this was still just such a fun matchup. I feel like both teams were quite confident and aggressive in how they're able to approach it. And if that's what we're going to be seeing in this best of 5 today, we got a great time ahead of us.
Oh, it was such a banger series as well, and especially being able to see kind of the late season push. This was like right before playoffs, right?
We were casting,
obviously
right, Lennon?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
But I especially love to see that they have track record with each other, right? We know Spawn for TL goes the distance with his prep, and I'm very excited to see what they bring to the table here against 100 Thieves, where you do have this track record against the org, but it's a completely different team on both sides, right? Both squads have been rebuilt, feels like from the ground up.
I just can't wait. Even just watching these clips and
excited.
This was, I believe, if I'm recalling right, like week 7, day 2. So this was still
it was like
really
literally
recent.
right before.
Yeah, this isn't like week 1. So like, okay, we're gonna see a completely different team as we're heading into playoffs. This is still actually pretty recent. So if that's what we're already seeing out of the teams, like, yes, there's been teams leveling up in playoffs, and of course the best of 5 changes so much from just the best of 2 that we had in our regular season, but I think that spells really exciting things heading into today.
Another thing I want to add too, that I think we're talking about our junglers and how this is a very interesting head-to-head. It is like 2 MVP candidates and all the stats that we were talking about, but another place I think everyone should keep their eyes on is that mid lane. We see these two players in Pretty and APA, and how Pretty is that standard control mage player. He made a name for himself last year here when it was called Academy with that gameplay when he played for Immortals. They had a great run in Summer PG22 because of a lot of the gameplay he was showing to us. He's so good at absorbing pressure, controlling controlling that mid lane so that it's easier for his jungler and Yukino to affect other parts of the map. But on TLC side, if you were watching yesterday or this past weekend, APA, not only does he play a lot of the standard stuff, he has that unique champ pool. Yesterday, he brought out the Ziggs, really good for contesting.
Still want the Ace Soul, man.
I know, that's what I was thinking too during this whole conversation is like, Aurelion Soul is very viable, like...
It's obvious though, you know? That's why.
It's obvious.
It's for the mind games because everyone's expecting to play it.
I'll just say, Pretty said he had tons of picks ready to go against Insanity.
I hope
he's
so.
like, Insanity has all these crazy... Maybe he didn't get to play any of those against Insanity, so maybe he brings it out against APA. Maybe.
Yeah, and it's going to be
Pretty
important.
if you're watching. Just,
exactly.
You're probably not watching, but you know.
I think we're focusing on what's ahead of them. This is the big matchup for today, all right?
Yeah, but it's important because if APA gets those counter picks, if he gets those favorable matchups with that unique pool and Pretty can't deal with it, that's just going to allow Mir to be unlocked across the map even more. And that's what we need to see from Pretty in this series where 100 Thieves Challengers, they're a team who believe they can win it all, even with the switch up with Darshan, with all the potential that they've shown us. And with the player like Unforgiven at the head, I definitely can see that happening, but it does start with today. How are you going to control that mid lane? How are you going to shut down the enemy jungler?
You're saying that this is a team that believes they can take it all. How are we feeling on the desk about these two teams?
I'm so torn. I can't ask me that. You can't ask me. I want the gameplay to let it just be decided.
Exactly.
But, you know,
we are just the viewers.
When we're sitting there in our meeting looking at our matchups, though, you know, there's always the conversation of, like, how it's going to play out. Going into today, now that we have our first best of 5.
Yes.
Considering the caliber of these two teams, are we going to be able to go that Silver Scrapes distance? Is that...
I already hear it. It's already playing in my ears.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
It's crazy. The synergy's on point.
I know.
No, I definitely think we have the possibility to go the distance, right? In our track records, we have gone the distance between these two teams, right?
Sure.
It is a thing of looking back at history, but also looking at what is different now. And these teams are completely different from what we've seen in the past, right? We had a lot of structure in their development in the past. We've had a lot of new blood and a lot of new additions on both sides. And I'm really interested in what that brings to this Legacy Best of 5 to see it in this new league, new day in ACL.
I still can't believe that it's the top 6, and this is a matchup that we're seeing in this lower bracket. This isn't even lower bracket finals. So the fact that we've gotten to see this storied history between these two teams, yet we're going to be saying goodbye to one of them today as the other's moving on to go try and face against the winner of FlyQuest and Cincinnati Fear at this point is just absolutely insane. The way that things...
And that's going to be a tough matchup too, so it ain't going to get easier. It ain't going to get easier.
They're all so tough. It's actually insane just like how things have taken up so far, because I feel like when we head into playoffs, there's always like this couple teams we kind of watched where this one, it really feels like it can go any way, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually really confident we will get 5 games today. Like, these two teams are actually pretty closely matched, in my opinion. The strategies we're going to see now that we're in best of 5 are definitely going to be an important part of it. But it's going to be an exciting one, and we're going to get to draft very soon. I can't wait. I'm shaking. It's going to be so fun.
You have your popcorn?
well, let's make sure you're all right. Shaking probably isn't good.
You know, I got water. I'm keeping hydrated. It's fine, guys.
Where are you at on the...
on the hypometer? I'm like over here, man. You can't even see my hand. Like, this is crazy. I'm like touching the ceiling.
That far.
Can you touch the ceiling, Lennon? Yeah, of course you can. You're taller than me.
I can't touch the ceiling. I don't even have to step on my tippy toes.
Yeah, me neither. That's not crazy. How about you, Sierra? Can you touch your ceiling? Just, curious.
I mean, I can,
without stepping on your chair,
I'm kind of.
She's got a different setup.
I'm wearing pajamas, all right. So maybe
fair,
I can.
Business on the top, party on the bottom. That's what it is. Right?
Me too.
All right. There's enough from us. We're getting a little unhinged, a little unreeled. We have a banger matchup ahead of us here. Team Liquid, 100 Thieves Challengers. Let's see who's gonna hit the ground running first as our draft is ready.
Thank you so much, Sierra. We're going to be getting into it now. 100 Thieves Challengers versus Team Liquid Challengers. A lot of fun between these two in their history. As we had already said, rebuilding from the ground up, it feels like you're trying to continue the legacy we've seen from these developmental programs.
Yes.
And really, really interested to see what they bring to the table today, as this is our first elimination best of 5 in our lower bracket. Now we do have, I believe, a little bug on the screen, but we do have the Lee Sin, the Cassante, and the Rakan banned away by 100 Thieves Challengers on that blue side. Thresh, Annie, and LeBlanc banned away by TLC. First pick Wukong, and who could have expected?
Yeah, it's been a strong pick for a lot of junglers in the playoffs patch. And just so we know, just so you guys know, the visual bug is the correct picks. It's just, there's a bug. It happens. The hover, don't listen to that hover. We already showed you.
Don't worry about the hover. It can't hurt you.
Exactly. It's gonna be APA Zakali. Trust me. And I will say that I only just took in that's APA who locked Akali. And I think as a player, despite his unique champ pool and that more propensity. Oh wait, I got baited. Damn.
You got
Never
baited.
mind. It is how it is.
You got baited.
It is the Nautilus. It's a skill issue. My bad.
So, it's okay. It's early. It's okay. We get those out of the way early. We grow. That's development.
Oh
that's
my God,
that's
you're right.
NACL. Bam! Look at that.
How do you do it?
Somehow, I don't know, man. Lucian Nami, though, locked in for Unforgiven Destiny. We talked a little bit. We actually heard from Mir a little bit about how strong this bot lane can be. Well, they're set up for success with this very meta duo. The Jinx, Nautilus, very good responses into that. I'm interested to see how the 2v2 goes with Arrow having found some crazy steals throughout the regular season with his global ultis. But now we're going in the second phase of bans, and that's where we kind of hone down on the Victor for TLC, and we'll see what 100 Thieves want to go with. It is the Syndra, so more mid lane focus.
Yeah, I imagine there's going to be a lot more continued focus in that mid lane. Again, that matchup is going to be so important because, we talk about the 2v2 bot, which is important because we have two of our better bot lanes in the league. But the other thing that's worth pointing out is the fact that mid is going to be important because the jungles are going to get involved. And the mid laners are also going to get involved. And how do you do that? Push. So that favorable matchup, you're getting rid of things that you don't want to be matching up into. And I'm pretty confident it's going to be that last pick there for APA in the mid lane. And they're going to pick for Bradley now. Oh, I lied.
Yeah.
It's Vi Ari. I got to go, guys.
You're getting baited, man. You're getting so baited. Anyways, he'll be back.
Know.
He's back.
I'm here.
So I specifically would love this duo because we were
really
talking
strong.
about Yukino and Mir, the matchup, specifically the early game for both junglers. I feel like they have a lot of resources themselves this time around, but it is again about a little bit of that facilitation, especially for Mir, and I'm really excited to see what this does in the jungle. But that duo, the mid jungle duo for this, is going to be insane from TLC, but you gotta see them use it, and that's the big conversation.
Absolutely. And now, removing a lot of things that could contest push for Ari in the mid lane, we're going to see what Pretty goes for. Camille Hover is an interesting one for Darshan. For the most part, we've seen him play like a lot of the tanks, and tanks are absolutely in season at the moment. So it's a good show there. And it is the Lissandra, which is an interesting pickup there. It's less about the lane and more about how the fact that TLC, they want to dive 100 Thieves Challengers. So when you have that level 6, that Frozen Tomb, Pretty's going to have a lot of opportunities to really slow down, even get picks on people when they're trying to go for the engage.
Man, I love this Lissandra pickup, especially with the Gnar finishing it up. A lot of the Wombo combo is available, and it sets up Unforgiven so well. The only conversation now is, yes, Lissandra does a decent amount of damage, does a lot of setup more so, and I'm very interested that they are putting a lot of eggs into the Unforgiven basket, and now we got the Bradley Kennen coming through here for game number 1.
I'm a big fan of Kennen right now. I liked him before, but the fact that he received all those buffs on this patch that we're playing on now, 13.5, it just means that he's going to continue rising in priority between him and Rumble, so that's something to expect. But you really just add to the team fight, and you just kind of add to the all-in potential here, because Pretty's got CC, he's got the Frozen Tomb, but how many people is he really going to lock down, Leonard, when you got Vi, Kennen, Ari, Nautilus, all just gunning for Unforgiven?
Yeah, it is actually kind of scary here, especially because it seems like Team Liquid have come in here with a very tried and true game plan and how they want to approach it as well. And it will be through that mid-jungle duo trying to get into team fights around objectives. We said Mir, obviously very good in controlling the map, but also controlling objectives. And now it's looking at that bar of execution for 100 Thieves, right? Both teams coming into this series with a little bit of dueling fates. And as we do hit the rift for the first time, we got best of 5 in the LCS Challengers League. It is a legacy best of 5 between 100 Thieves Challengers and Team Liquid Challengers. And boy, is it going to be fun.
Two orgs who have done so well in the North American Tier 2 system for League of Legends. They face off again here at top 6 with their newest iterations of developing players. And it all starts right now. Trying to look around to see the interesting summoner spells. The exhaust for Unforgiven, very important. Yeah, useful in lane, but I'm telling you right now, that's for Bradley's Kennen.
I'm glad they put it on Unforgiven. Honestly,
he needs it.
I'm glad to see duos go with it. You're like, oh yeah, my support's got me. Nah, Unforgiven needs that tool because he needs to make sure that he has it up when Bradley's looking, because he knows that he is the damage source right now on 100 Thieves unless Pretty can find a lead.
That's right. It's mid matchup again, something we highlight. Keep an eye on the junglers. There's so much to be looking for here for both of these teams. TLC, they have this mid-jungle duo ready to skirmish, ready to fight early on. Pretty and Yukino can keep up as well, and that's why that early jungle pathing is something to be watching out for.
Fisticuffs, go!
Oh yeah, it's the top lane?
The Yordle fight.
I mean, right?
I don't know. I feel like now if we had the space skin for Darshan, it'd be like a space battle. But, you know, I have not seen trading like this at level 1 at top lane in a long time, but I'm here for it.
I think it's been a while since Darshan has played into a Kennen. Maybe forgot that the base stats are pretty high for a champion like that. And between that and the buffs, we're already seeing an advantage go over to Bradley. Vision, actually on both sides of the jungle here by TLC is super important because they have that information on Yukino. They have the idea of where he's going to be, and they know that they can avoid these ganks if they are careful.
Yeah, I really like the early vision game there from both sides. A lot being pressed forward in that term from Team Liquid. See, as it is that opposite side start for both junglers where they kind of want a path. Obviously, some wraparound ganks towards mid available. APA playing very, very aggressively in mid lane right now. But I expect a lot of reactivity coming out from Mir here early on.
That's right. Mir pathing towards that top side. Probably going to be a trade of scuttles between both these junglers. Level 6 is going to be important for them, even though they also have a lot of early game power too. Mir actually could be looking for a dive. You can see Bradley, if we just look at the health, Bradley has been stacking that wave. He's been trading pretty effectively into Darshan. Oh, this is going to be tough. Nar's so weak early on.
He's going to flash, get the hop, skip, and a jump, and he's still got the move.
Yeah, nicely done by Darshan. He's going to lose out on a good bit. And look at this. They're proxying the wave to make sure the next wave hits the turret too. Oh, he cancels the back.
No!
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Look away.
Oh, that's brutal. Yeah,
that's going to have to be a TP back, right?
Oh, yeah. He's lost so much. You can just see it. He's going to be able to collect some of this. And what, you know what would have been really brutal, Lennon? If Mir stayed and they dived him post TP. But that's a little
They're not being that mean today. They're not being that mean today. It will be a wrap back to Mir, full clear the rest of his jungle as well. Looks like Yukino has finally finished on his clear. Should go for the Scuttle Crab, but also looking at bot if they can find anything. Nice little cohesion here with the priority given from bot lane.
And Kim Down Arrow being very careful. They know this wave is coming to them. They don't have to fight. Don't want to lose their HP and get set up for a dive because, hey, Nami, Wukong, that dive probably not going to go very well. So instead, Yukino's just going to hover the mid lane while APA wisely stays towards where he has vision and not where it's dark on the map.
I love it because I was saying, you know, a little bit of reactivity probably from Mir while he was proactive. And this guy has been proactive in his first split in NACL. And here he goes again, back to Darshan, knowing there is no flash up here. Let's see what I can get. Actually, looks like the engage might be going through up there. And Darshan playing a little bit up. We were looking at bot lane just to see there's some pings going through. Darshan should be able to jump away there, as engage bot lane did not go through either. So TL still looking early. They've gone multiple times. Have not found it.
Yeah, I mean, Darshan's been absorbing a lot of pressure so far. Bradley aggressively pushing this wave, it's looking like. I'm counting. No, it should still be going towards Bradley, so Yukino's not going to be able to find anything. And now, really, Yukino hasn't been able to do anything in answer to what Mir has done so far. Both have full cleared their jungles. Mir is going back to collect his bot side. So really, TLC, they've gotten to make some plays early on. Even if they don't result in kills, there's no answer from 100 Thieves.
And I'll just look at 100 Thieves a little bit. Obviously, the kind of calm early game so far for them. And I would really like to see Yukino go bot lane. I really want to see Unforgiven get some resources here for 100 Thieves because, yes, as we always say in the LPL, Lucian scales with skill. Yep. But I need to see some advantage here because Lucian without any resources feels a little bit worse. So I really want to see a transition from 100 Thieves here to kind of get some more pressure around bot lane. It is actually TL already starting up the dragon with that back coming through here from Unforgiven and Destiny.
I will say Mir tried to cheat the Scuttle Crab, but just before it despawned, the pings came through, he was seen, but realistically 100 Thieves can't do anything about this information. It's just going to be APA also going a little aggressive. Just a little, hey, how are you?
Hey,
some little chicken nuggets.
Hey, Soul Dabums.
I know, soon. Maybe he'll
got all
play
the
it.
he got some of the little chicken nuggies.
Yeah, which is
APA was hungry.
hungry. And I mean, APA, we want to talk about being hungry. He's a player who is very hungry for success. And by that, I mean, like, he's a player who is very motivated, a player who, wait a second.
Ooh, Bradley going all in. Darshan is not level 5. He doesn't have Megadar. One more hit and first blood solo bolo for Bradley.
That's what we needed to see from him. Yesterday, these last couple of weeks for Bradley have been very tenuous. And he was a player who, being that back-to-back Proving Grounds champion from 2022, someone we had high hopes for. And it seems like he wasn't reaching them. Even yesterday, he struggled in the laning phase. But now against Darshan, it's a nice little solo bolo.
Me flying up into space with that one. The shurikens coming through, and the last shot. He's got that dog in him. As it really is impressive to see Bradley be able to take that solo against Darshan on this Kennen. Now he will provide so much pressure from the top side. And as soon as he starts getting involved in these big team fights, man, that slicing Maelstrom is going to be even more chaotic. But again, it's been a calm early game for 100 Thieves. Feels like a little bit of passenger status going on here. And I really want to see Yukino, the rookie, the standout, our number 5 MVP here of this split, get into the game.
And I will say, this is not a passenger-style draft, Lennon. I know you were already highlighting it, especially with this Lucian Nami early on. Not much to be gained, but very powerful duo bot lane in there for Unforgiven and Destiny. You look at Arrow and Kim down, they're keeping up just fine. Arrow's down a couple of CS, like realistically everything is chill in the bottom lane, and we're waiting for Yukino to make that move like you talked about. Now he's level 6, he has access to the Cyclone, and he does have more of an ability to make some of these plays, but you gotta look somewhere. Now you have your own CC. Dive bot lane is something to be considering, especially when Destiny gets that level 6. The tidal wave, all of that together is enough to get you a kill.
We got Rift Herald coming up now as well, and you see that Mir already putting some presence around there. Wonder if this is something, actually no moves coming out from 100 Thieves just yet, so it looks like another objective should go down. The Team Liquid Challengers here. And right now, no real response on the map available from 100 Thieves.
Yeah, because of where the Herald is, they know on the side of 100 Thieves that this is being done. No bot dive, but respect to Kim down. You see the vision he's laying down. He knows that they're susceptible, so he's making sure that if something is potentially happening, they know about it. And there it is. It's already paying off as Yukino shows up. Arrow and Kim down walk away. This early game has been all
just so much damage. Oh, he's got the Megadar back, though, and he's got a little bit more damage onto Bradley. Bradley almost gets another solo. But it will be flash available for Darshan. Flash burn for Bradley.
Wow. So, I mean, you already used the Gnar ultimate, so Darshan doesn't have a crazy outplay available, but he lives. That's what's important. You're not giving away more gold to this Kennen, who is already accelerating hard in this game.
APA getting a nice little trade there after missing the charm. Really good stuff. And back to some of that setup here for the Team Liquid squad, right? You've already talked a little bit about Bradley trying to go for that 3-chain game, but really the only remaining member over there on Team Liquid, the coach spawn, holdover from the Prodigal lineup from last year, all those promotions as well. But it really has been about the rest of the squad. APA would have, semi-pro's favorite mid laner is finally getting the shot he's deserved. Arrow coming into the lineup here, really big holdover from INTC. Kim down, the newer piece, Mir, the newer piece, and they've all really been bringing to the table what it felt like was needed, at least for Team Liquid to continue their legacy.
And again, remember, we were giving Team Liquid that grace where it's like, okay, completely new roster. I mean, same for 100 Thieves. Just the fact that we know these orgs are good. We know they develop, but we expected, like, okay, you take some time. You know, you got players, you got to figure out your system, you got to develop, develop. But they said, nah, Spring Split's enough time. Regular season's good. And now these are teams who have made it to that top 6, TLC especially, making that surprise because they were seeded 9th. Remember that yesterday they were the only team. You got him.
Solo! It's back and forth in the top lane. Darshan delivers a haymaker to Bradley.
Not gonna lie, Lennon, I really thought Bradley was just gonna walk away. That's why I kept talking. But Bradley getting a little too comfortable because Mir is nearby. Loses his life. It's a bit of an unlucky. Could have been a lot of turret plates, but now, because he shows Yukino, another play available top bot side. And remember, I said Unforgiven didn't have this big lead, but all this attention forcing Arrow and Kim down off waves. They're not giving away their life, which is good. But now Arrow's starting to fall behind at CS, and Unforgiven is picked up part of 3 turret plates almost.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing right now is there is a slow and steady advantage being built for this carry ADC. As the Vault Breaker was channeled from Mir, not going to pull the trigger, realize there might be a trap in the bush. But it is important that now you're getting a little bit of stability for bot lane because of that plate advantage down there. APA in a little bit of trouble here. Did have to pop that Spirit Rush already, but now we see TL trying to make a move.
Right, and the second dragon is up and available. Mir still has Herald to play with. So even though the first few options didn't really pan out, mid lane is just going to be an easy one, and it should set them up for this dragon, because now has to be answered by 100 Thieves Challengers, and it's looking like they're actually just going to ignore it. Yukino's already made his way in.
Engaged from Pretty. He does get charmed there. All Breaker charged up. Yukino going in. APA early flash there just to make sure, and this should be dragon for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, really nice play. Really good aggressive move from Pretty, being able to make that space, especially forcing out the Spirit Rush from APA earlier. So the dragon stacking slowed down. 100 Thieves, they buy themselves some time, but they do need more than that to come out ahead in this game, Leonard. Fact is, again, it's just been a lot of reactionary gameplay from the Thieves. Team Liquid, they've been the ones pushing the pace the entire time. And even though they haven't always worked out the way that they're hoping for, that aggression, that activity in the early game is what they have made themselves known for in Spring.
Yeah, and I love to see that they're actually using that pressure now from Unforgiven and bot lane. I think they were taking a little bit of a slow ride early on, feel out the tempo that Team Liquid are going for, and I actually like that collapse with some of the pressure from Pretty as well, and especially utilizing Yukino is the most important thing here on the Wukong. Try to find advantages as best you can, use some of this vision game, but Team Liquid have been ahead of that. So I'm really looking at the continued kind of cohesion between Pretty and Yukino now that lanes are a little bit more loosey-goosey, and try to see where they can find setup for that, because it is interesting to kind of see Yukino trying to feel out something when he doesn't have any advantage right now besides in this bottom lane, where that is typically where they find advantages holistically with a lot of gold. That's not the case so much so this time.
And you see what TLC are doing. I mean, Mir talked about in the interview, shut down Unforgiven, you shut down 100 Thieves. And now they're practicing what they preach. They're focusing their attention on this side of the map.
He thought something was up, and he should have gone with his gut instinct. Arrow gets the kill.
Really nicely done. And of course, you get it on the Jinx. Everything Unforgiven got early on is starting to get chipped away at. And if we could take a look at the goal just to see what this early game has gotten here for 100 Thieves. I mean, it's a less than a 500 gold lead in favor of Unforgiven. Really not a lot in the grand scheme of things, especially because Arrow is about to finish a cull.
Really, really good influx of gold, at least for Arrow, to get back some of that money from the plates he was losing. As you said, still down and out right now in terms of the laning advantage, but want to see at least if they want to put more pressure down here. And I think, obviously, look to get Arrow a little bit more. You said a renaissance. I feel like IMTC they had a really good duo with Joey. As actually we see another 1v1 up here. I'm just waiting to see if we get another solo.
I know.
I don't know. Check in the top players. They're a little crazy today. But Arrow specifically now against Pretty, his former mid laner for IMTC, but coming into his own with Kim down, I think is an interesting development of its own.
It's especially interesting for Kim Down as a player who, I mean, very little competitive experience, played for UCI last year. Actually, some people don't know, a very brief sub on Team Pending in Proving Rounds when Chookies had to step away. And, you know, still very young, shown a lot of promise and a lot of growth, especially recently.
Yeah, as now he's on the roam. Speaking of growth, we got to fight over the Rift Herald. Eye in the back, though. It should be secured by Yukino. Here comes the tidal wave. Re-engage. That shredded armor is burning down Mir, and he's gone before the TP from Bradley even connects. Get the re-engage now. Bradley wants to get in. That's a three-man. No, it's not enough. The charm goes wide, too, but they still take down Unforgiven. It doesn't matter when their sights are true. They know exactly who to go for, as that is a big pickup for Team Liquid.
Even though they dropped the Rift Herald, they got the kills. And again, on arrow, Unforgiven CC'd so well by Bradley, and the engage so good by Team Liquid Challengers. This is the all-in we were talking about in the draft. This is the all-in that is so dangerous here. You see it, Mir, arrow Kim down. They wrap their way around Darshan. I mean, honestly, this is a little bit of a slip. You know that they're there. Has to blow the flash so he doesn't get engaged on because he has no Narbar. And the big thing to watch here is that under Thieves, they get a good start to this fight. Really nice tidal wave. You cancel the Vault Breaker and you're able to take Mir out of the picture. The problem is what happens after, Lennon. Bradley is here. You're fighting on two different fronts. You're not focusing your damage, especially from Unforgiven. So he gets focused, taken down, uses summoners to try and live, but he couldn't make it to the Blast Cone.
Yeah, you know, he gave so much onus to that exhaust he was holding on him. Didn't matter that time around when your team just tips on you. And he is that integral piece, right? Like, when we were coming to draft, they need to play around him. And obviously in that moment, it cut your losses. But I'm interested now as that has happened in a little bit of deficit. And Darshan now losing Meganar. This is going to potentially be another kill. Gets the speed up. Here comes the Vault Breaker, though. Flash from Kim down with the Dredge Line misses. Mega Death Rocket not enough to get the kill. So a couple whiffed engages there from Team Liquid and some flashes burned.
Yeah, but they're trying. They're putting this pressure on Darshan, and this lane swap will mean that first turret goes over to Pretty, actually. So he'll be able to get a nice influx of gold, a little cash there for 100 Thieves Challengers as a whole, and that focus on that bottom side. You can see Team Liquid dragon stacking. I mean, getting those early dragons was nice, or the first one they got, but it's not their biggest priority. It's getting that gold onto Arrow. This Jinx, who is now 2-0, has that mythic and is looking to get to more. That 2-item spike where TLC will really pop off.
Speaking of, we've got the 1-item spike for Unforgiven Destiny. This is the big one, the big spike for them. They need to be able to utilize it. This also means that they play with a little bit more confidence because of that, and you see everything used on him. Now the tidal wave comes back through. Pretty's in the middle of everybody. Now you get the double cyclone there, and here comes some of the team fight that 100 Thieves can bring to the table themselves as they find the lockdown, they find the target selection, and now they're looking at the dragon number 2 for them.
And this is what I was talking about, the power of that Lissandra. Pretty being able to absorb a lot of that pressure. Unforgiven held the splash from that last fight. It pays dividends here and now. They managed to turn that kill around. They still have a Herald to play with on 100 Thieves side, so there's more turrets that could also drop in the process. And we're seeing how TL's comp really needs to function here. You need the whole combo, Bradley included, for Pretty to not be able to actually absorb a lot of these engages.
Darshan's going to start finding a lot more strength on this Gnar as well with that Trinity Force in the side lane, but especially still having that influence in the big team fights. That's the time the Mega Gnar right. Because now we get re-adaptation into lanes. It'll be mid lane for Arrow and Unforgiven. And with a little bit of time, it's still looking at that second item spike now that we've seen a little bit of use from the first item spike for 100 Thieves.
That's right. This is that point of the game. Unforgiven, despite everything they've given to Arrow, he's ahead. He's 2 levels up on Arrow, worth noting, and is
another
still ahead
turret. My
in
goodness.
gold. And that's right, more turret gold. Now on to Darshan. 100 Thieves actually starting to knock down structures, while TL haven't gotten any yet.
They'll find one in mid lane now, even as the minion falls. One more auto attack. Bradley in some trouble. Has to pop the Slicing Maelstrom. Doesn't have the Rocket Belt to get out of there, though. And now you see actually Team Liquid coming to collapse on 100 Thieves. Yukino, a little bit of a sly fella, does make his way out of there. Should be a next setup around Vision for this mid lane because Baron will be on the table. Obviously not, I feel like, threatened by either squad right now, but especially looking at that setup and making sure you have that information.
And when we talk about damage, neither of these teams are going to be there for a 20-minute Baron, but you get a good team fight in, Lennon. That's a different story, and that's why the Vision game is so important here. What Team Liquid are trying to set up. I mean, you see Yukino, you drop the Herald, they charged that top tier 2, didn't quite get the break because Bradley didn't fall susceptible to that play. So it's still Team Liquid who have that bit of vision in and around this Baron pit, still maintaining control and making sure 100 Thieves don't push that vision line into TL's jungle. And they need to maintain that. And it's going to be easier as long as that mid turret still stays up. Expect TL to put a lot into making sure they can keep that mid tier 1 up as long as possible.
A little bit of something to call home, it feels like, on the map will definitely help out. It's a little bit coming, you know, you set up a little table, you kick your feet up, maybe a nice cup of tea. That's not going to happen on 7 Shift. I'm sorry, Beat Down.
I was so interested.
We do want to see Kim Down, though, here. Maybe get something set up with the Hex Flash Unforgiven in the mid lane. Be very, very close to getting that engaged. But the nice use of the minions from Unforgiven. And right now we got a bit of a stalemate for both teams. Both of them focusing so heavily around objectives, around those timers, around controlling those objectives. And now a little bit of that lull period because we're waiting for it. A lot of the setup for team fights on both these two teams.
And it's just this kind of bit of, this is jockeying for position at this point. Really slow, methodical game from both these teams.
Deja vu. This time, though, Bradley has more teammates. He's still getting very low. Re-engaged, though. Darshan's already down a shutdown. As Tidal Wave not able to pick off Bradley. Charm not going through. AP needs to be very careful. Unforgiven still doing a lot of work here. Cease and desist used as now Mir has flashed over the wall and gotten away. 2 people from TL make it out below 100 health.
So they got
3 people, rather.
Yeah, they got 1 for nothing, and it was tough. And okay, I was wondering if 100 Thieves will take this opportunity to go for the Baron, but they don't want to play their luck. Managed to minimize the damage from TL's play, but it's still Team Liquid who are slightly coming out on top. Unforgiven is putting out a lot of DPS in these fights, and the team is really making space for him super well on the side of 100 Thieves. Team Liquid, Mir saying he wants to shut down Unforgiven. That's how you beat this team. They need to keep up that pressure, and especially when they go for these dives, we're going to get to a point, Lennon, where your target can't be the Gnar unless it is a play to the side lane. You have to start looking to focus this Lucian, because if we look at the damage from 100 Thieves comp, if you blow up Unforgiven with your Wombo, you win the fight. It's over.
Yeah, and I think the hardest thing for Unforgiven here is going to be piloting those fights, right? He does have the Gale Force. He has the Rapid Fire Cannon. Good adaptation there because range is at a disadvantage for Unforgiven, and especially stepping up into a team like this where 1 charm, 1 dredge line means you're doom. 1 connection of the cease and desist, right? Like, it is so difficult. You don't have that cleanse. So it's going to be something where Unforgiven has to play very safe and has to play back until he knows he can go in. But that is the thing about this guy, Unforgiven. He has been incredible for 100 Thieves Challengers. He has burst into the scene from the LEC, and he has made a name for himself. We've already lauded him as the best ADC in our league. He had that 3v1, I'm just going to call it. I know he had a little bit of support at the end, but this man has been insane for this team and a big strong point that they've been building off of.
That's right. And in the rest of the map, really managed to come together as well. Pretty. Yukino especially improved a lot so far this split. Of course, by no means perfect, but for the youngest player in the league, that kind of quick development is something we take.
He keeps getting chunked out pretty heavy in these fights from Unforgiven. You can tell where his head's at. Needs to make sure that charm is not going to be connecting anytime soon. Should be the Dragon setup for 100 Thieves now, though. Unforgiven playing back a little bit, but maybe a little bit separated from his team. Needs to find a way back around. Should dash right into the pit, but then he's going to be stuck in the pit.
Yeah, this is the sole point here for Thieves. You need to secure this. TL can't let it happen.
All right, TL, I feel like need a flank. They need some sort of in. They are not going to win this front to back. As Dragon is going here. 4,000 health over the wall. Into the bush goes Mir. Okay, he stepped out. I was going to say they don't know he's there. Darshan goes in for the engage. Here goes Mir, but it is secured by Yukino. Flash from Bradley on the back line. And the storm has come for 100 Thieves.
Oh, it's the pentakill! Arrow! He secures the 5. The TL win the fight. Soul point be damned, Lennon. They're going to get themselves the Baron, and they break this game wide open.
Arrow's here to stay. Pentakill for the ADC of Team Liquid Challengers, and it all breaks down from here.
I'll tell you what, Lennon, I don't care about this Dragon. Not at all. Mir and Bradley using the sweeper to make sure Bradley has the in so that Mir even baits himself so that they can focus on him, focus on this front line. And look at that. They forgot where this cannon was. He just shows up this excellent flank, and it sets sets up the Super Mega Death Rocket perfectly. And guys, you know the rest.
Dude, he's so good with globals, man. There's a reason why this man has been an international superstar. And here he is in the Challenger League, whopping up the best ADC, I just called, in our league. And this is a big step up from TL. This is a big momentum shift for them. While they were in a lot of control around the map, this gives them even more. And that man, Arrow, is sitting at 7-0 on the Jinx, and a huge gold lead for him over Unforgiven.
Arrow's juiced right now, Lennon. No other way to put it. He was slightly behind pretty much the entire game. That goes the same for Team Liquid Challengers, but that play, it changes it all. 4K up. Arrow's 2,000 of that lead ahead of his lane opponent in Unforgiven. A big play for Team Liquid Challengers, and this could be that beginning of the end. We talked about how important it is for 100 Thieves to be able to get these leads early on, but at 25 minutes, a 5K deficit, a monumental play needs to be made for the Thieves to get themselves into it.
And they still got the Baron buff for 2 more minutes. Darshan trying to make as much work as possible happen in the side lane here. Does get a side lane turret for 100 Thieves, but a side lane responded to by Team Liquid. APA caught out though.
Oh, they got him.
APA's just gone.
This is the kind of stuff you need. The Cyclone can interrupt movement abilities. APA not respecting that. That's 1 Baron buff out of the picture.
Oh, Bradley wants another one. He wants to go 2-1. Who's going to get the next solo polo? Here comes Darshan with the Mega Gnar. It's going back and forth. He gets the wallop. He gets the Mega Gnar. Mega Death Rocket, but Darshan says no way as he flexes all over Bradley.
He needed a minute, Lennon. He needed to warm himself up, but Darshan is here to play. He is back as he takes Bradley out of the picture. It was a 1 versus 1.5, we'll say, because Arrow did help with that Super Mega Death Rocket, but really nicely done.
Bring your friends, bring your faithful, bring anybody against Darshan. He's got 2 items now as well, so kind of huge with the Black Cleaver. But we'll see, actually, Team Liquid try to regroup, resettle, back out onto the map. 2,000 gold in the advantage, but still looking at the execution in team fights. You see them collapsing around this bottom lane. They want to use this Baron buff they have up for about 35 more seconds to take down some more turrets.
That's right. They managed to actually tie because 100 Thieves have taken 4 turrets themselves. So the fact that TLC got ahead and still had so many turrets, all that extra standing gold to pick up for themselves, just shows that even though they've given away shutdowns, they've given away some gold, ultimately, they still hold a very firm lead, and it's on the most important player. This Jinx has approached that 3rd item, is getting a component for, oh, it's actually the Elixir. Dude, the Elixir, TLC, they know how important this next fight is.
Yeah, we did get 3rd item completed for Unforgiven. He's also got the pickaxe on top of it. Darshan, though, caught in the side lane. You can't have this happen as Mega Gnar doesn't come out. Arrow is just too clean with the arrows, man. He's too clean with the globals. It's insane how much this guy connects on a daily basis with these ultimates, and he continues to rack up the gold for Team Liquid.
Really important. Bradley just got the ultimate online, didn't use it for that exchange, so it is still available in this team fight, especially because Darshan will be up and back on the map, can TP to the dragon, but it's about being able to push that top wave in, force Darshan to have to answer while TL try and set up for this Drake. So that's the thing to keep an eye on here. Now you're seeing the recall start to come through from 100 Thieves. TL, after they push this next mid wave, they're going to have that opening. Slowly push in here, clear out as much vision as they can because they are expecting 100 Thieves to move out.
You see a contest over vision is important right now. A lot of control needed from 100 Thieves challengers here, but it's the side lane that I'm looking at right now. Bradley trying to push that in, trying to pull the attention of Darshan. Both have TP though, so we'll see how much this team fight comes through. And both teams setting up in differing positions. Obviously, 100 Thieves trying to use the mid lane priority to push down into the dragon. TL trying to use bot lane.
I like it. They use the vision. They've avoided, actually, a lot of 100 Thieves have set up. They are going to lose a turret for it, but that's gold you are happy to leave. They're actually dropping gold on both sides. And here it is. Bradley, I think he finished that 3rd item. He's going to fight.
They don't have it? Okay, he doesn't go for the engage. Thought he was just going to pull the trigger there. This is soul for 100 Thieves. If Yukino can get in there and steal it, they need to find a way to body block him out of the pit. The dragon has reset. As now the refocus on the backside of the pit for TL. This should be the dragon. I don't think 100 Thieves want to give this one over. They are taking an in-hip tower while we speak. And will be 2nd dragon for TL, so stacking denied. But it's about the turret game right now for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, they expose that mid inhibitor. It's more gold for the Thieves.
Stopping
and if
his
they
back.
stop the back, wait, he might have to teleport away. They're looking.
He might look for it here. He actually burned the flash preemptively to try to get the distance. Gonna go for the TP. Here comes APA. He's gonna get
Charm!
the distance. He
They
got
got
the charm. And Darshan, the dab from the Aurelion Soul APA. And it's Bradley who picks up the kill.
Okay, now he has no teleport. Now he's down for 45 seconds. It's going to be a 5v4 for the Baron. An amazing pickoff there from Team Liquid Challengers. It's going to set them up so well for this next neutral objective. We are seeing some recalls. This is not something they want to contest right away, but they know they have the pressure on the map because of that pickoff. So there is time. Push out that top wave. Have mere recall and come back. Because this should be TLC's Baron.
Unforgiven Destiny going to put a lot of focus on bottom side. You see some things actually coming out from Team Liquid. Realize they have to deal with this. They don't want to lose another inhib tower, but if they get Baron, maybe that makes it all okay. A lot of damage now onto the Baron here, and it should be TL's quick Baron and no push from the bot lane of 100 Thieves, realizing the play is already gone.
Right, so there is going to be some gold and XP let out, but you make up for it with the Baron here. Realistically, it just helps for TLC to keep that vision. You look on this bottom side jungle here of Team Liquid Challengers. 100 Thieves have all this vision laid out. Maintaining control here is so important because of this next dragon fight. TL might have denied the soul, but that is still a very real threat in these coming minutes that 100 Thieves are doing their best to play for it. Even Bradley, he knows a lot of people are off the map. They have to.
Yeah, I mean, Pretty and Yukino actually were pinging onto the little pixel brush in the bottom side all the way on the enemy side of the jungle. Not able to get there in time. Now setting up that tri-bush. Didn't find anything there either. TL using this Baron, though. Trying to push up this mid lane. Bradley will have to respond to Darshan in the top. And see how much this Baron buff does get Team Liquid, right? They're almost 5,000 gold in the lead now, 32 minutes in.
Now, speaking of pixelated, Darshan. Oh, no.
He's a little bit
How you say dead on my screen?
A little bit. Oh my god, that shuriken. Whoa, Bradley, is that the 2 chains buff? Should be Darshan going down here to the cannons and the turret. Bradley gets himself another kill. But that does mean a body gone for 100 Thieves. Dashing, flashing, everything is not enough. APA finds Unforgiven. And Yukino on the backside trying to get arrow, but Mir gets the shutdown on him. And the charm missing. APA locked down by the bubbles. Is Mir trying to find the flash vault breaker maybe on the other side of this one. Arrow going down the mid lane. Pretty able to get away just barely. This should mean the turret's going down and maybe some lasting damage on 100 Thieves Challengers base.
So 30 seconds away from the big damage dealers. TLC could look to end the game right here, Ledin. An incredible use of their CC. Unforgiven died with both his summoners up, and this could be the end. Pretty and Destiny have to hold it down.
A pentakill for Arrow caps the series so far here with our first game going down. It's a quick focus and a quick in from Team Liquid Challengers. 1-0 in our best of 5.
And wow, honestly, a super contentious game for the first 20 minutes or so. And you can see the teams going back and forth, but Team Liquid Challengers, they were incredible towards the end. Perfect. Well, they really made good use of that dive composition, layering their CC, getting these picks and winning team fights. And it earned them that win.
It absolutely did. Now we're going to step away for a little break. On the other side of this break, though, we have our Rally Cry halftime show, so don't you go anywhere.